Good morning. Welcome to our live stream with the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. So glad you are joining us this morning. An extra special welcome to our friends from Abundant Love, UU, who are joining us this morning because their minister, the good Reverend Duncan Teague, is in the room with us. If this is your first time being with us in worship, I hope you will sing along with all of the hymns, read along with our readings on the screen, light a chalice at home, be as fully present in the worship experience as you can be. Our first hymn is I've Got Peace Like a River. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. So glad you are with us this morning. It is the best place to watch worship on the internet. Watch worship on the internet, anywhere.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning worship at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, a beloved community that changes lives. Wherever you are from, whomever you love, and whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. If you are a visitor or new to UUCA, we hope you will attend an Inquirer's class shortly after the service at 12:30 p.m. on Zoom. The link to sign up for Inquirers is going into the live chat right now. Through the live chat, we can express love and care for each other. Please take a moment to say hello to each other and anyone who may be visiting for this morning's worship. Once again, we're glad you have chosen to worship with us this morning. As we light our chalice here, and you light your chalice at home, let's say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking. Invite all who yearn for acceptance and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
So last Sunday afternoon, I got to go see a live musical for the first time in a very long time. I got to go see Into the Woods, and Into the Woods is the perfect show for this service, doing more than one thing at a time. On the surface level, it seems like it's just a show about fairy tales, about Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's actually a show about complexity. It's a show about finding deeper meaning in things and how things, even though they seem happily ever after, might not be so. It works. So I could have sung any song from the show, and I chose the song by Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. This is called Giants in the Sky. There are giants in the sky. There are big, tall, terrible giants in the sky. When you're way up high and you look below at the world you've left and the things you know, little more than a glance is enough to show you just how small you are. When you're way up high and you're on your own in a world like none that you've never known, where the sky is lead and the earth is stone, you're free to do whatever pleases you, exploring things you'd never dare, 'cause you don't care when suddenly there's a big, tall, terrible giant at the door. A big, tall, terrible lady giant sweeping the floor. But she gives you food and she gives you rest, and she draws you close to her giant breast, and you know things now that you never knew before. Not till the sky. Only just when you've made a friend and all, and you know she's big, but you don't feel small, someone bigger than her comes along the hall to swallow you for lunch. Then your heart is lead, your stomach stone, and you're really scared being all alone. And it's then that you miss all the things you've known in the world you left and the little you own. The fun is done. You steal what you can and run, and you scramble down and you look below, and the world you know begins to grow. The roof, the house, and your mother at the the house and the world you never thought to explore. And you think of all of the things you've seen, and you wish that you could live in between. And you're back again, only different than before. After the sky, there are giants in the sky. There are big, tall, terrible, awesome, scary, wonderful giants in the sky.
Please join us in the movement prayer led by Ona Paliza.
Hi, my name is Ona, and today I will be leading the movement prayer. First, we bow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of the Spirit. We bring these gifts into ourselves with gratitude, breathe, smile. We share these gifts with the world and remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present.
Every night and every morn, some to misery are born. Every morn and every night, some are born to sweet delight. Joy and woe are woven fine, clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs our joy with silken twine.
Let us put hands on hearts. Feel the warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will heal the world. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving to each other. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Speak their names into this holy space or write them into the chat now. As humans have gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, to seek hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are all inextricably and mysteriously connected. Now we still our bodies and we still our minds. We take in a big breath and then we exhale. we relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
It should be so. We were made for joy and woe, and when this we rightly know, safely through the world we go.
Good morning. Our reading this morning is actually called Handout 2, Not by Ourselves Alone, and it's part of the curriculum for Building the World We Dream About by Marjorie Bowens-Wheatley. I'm going to introduce more about Marjorie later, but this reading is from her life as a reporter before she became a Unitarian Universalist. Some of you will recall that the 1980s was a time when carjackings were a regular occurrence in some urban areas. And I was out covering such a story. An African-American woman about my age, I was 35 or 36 at the time, was filling up her car with gasoline. And in the flash of an eye, a moment when she had turned away, someone had driven off not only with her car, but with her 8-year-old daughter. Now, I must tell you that I too had a daughter, so I had a deep identification with this woman. When I arrived on the scene, there were at least 5 radio and television stations that had set up their equipment, and 4 reporters had microphones in her face. I looked around at the cameraman who was about to join the mob, and I looked at the woman. She was visibly and understandably upset, speaking in a soft voice, but not all her sentences were complete or coherent. I made my way closer to her, all the time monitoring the pace of my crew's setup. As other reporters probed her with questions, I placed my hand in hers. I remember thinking to myself, why don't they leave her alone? And then there was this sudden awareness that I was one of them. They were my fellow reporters. And yet, I knew that the last thing she needed was not a gang of microphones in her face. In a flash, I remembered the words of one of my professors who, emphasizing that television news had to have pictures, maintain its dramatic focus, had said to the class, keep the camera rolling until you make them cry. What this woman needed was someone to talk to about her troubles, someone to console her, someone with whom she could let out all her tears without fear of exploitation, someone to tell her it's going to be all right. And when she grasped in my hand for what seemed like her dear life, I knew that I couldn't do the story, that I couldn't keep the camera rolling. I begged my fellow reporters to give her some breathing room. She must have sensed that I had her interest at heart, because as I quietly guided her away from the crowd and toward the station's van, she did not resist. Eventually, the microphones and reporters disappeared, audio tape and videotape in hand for the evening news. The woman had held back tears from the camera, but within moments, she was weeping incessantly. As we sat waiting for a family member to arrive, I tried to comfort her between the tears as she told me bits and pieces of the story, without camera, without microphone. And when we parted, I said to her, "Keep the faith. You will see your daughter again." And indeed, she did. I had been an activist, involved in social justice work. This, along with deep need and longing for reconnection with the faith community. I had found my way to All Souls Church in DC when I saw an announcement on the church bulletin board for a job opening at the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. There was no doubt in my mind I had to work in a place where I could align my values with my work. And it wasn't long, perhaps months, before I was moving to Boston to live and to nurture my faith and to put my faith into action. So ends our reading for today.
Good morning again. Usually, when I get up to this podium, I talk about some aspect of parenthood. But today is no different. Today, I will share briefly about how my husband and I strive to parent like UUs. From the time that our child was born, we recognize them as a person with preferences and autonomy. In the early months, this looked like letting them know what I was doing with their body. Mommy is going to dress you now. I'm going to lift your left hand and put it into your sleeve. I had an ongoing monologue to keep our child informed. As they grow, we continue to prioritize their autonomy as we teach about maintaining a balance between our own needs and those of others. We also explore social justice issues together as they relate to our child and to our friends, as well as the larger world. We are working on thinking like a skeptic by continually asking questions like, how do you know that? We also teach about issues surrounding animal treatment and animal rights, and focus more time than we probably admit on the connectedness we share with the natural world, animals and plants alike. I am grateful that we are raising our child in a community of acceptance that shares many of our values. I'm also grateful to have an RE program that encourages our children to explore their own spiritual beliefs with openness and curiosity. This is only one of the reasons that I am happy to be a member of this community and to raise our child here at UUCA. The offering will now be given and very gratefully received.
Thank you, Tracey. This next song is by request from Reverend Duncan Teague, who asked about if I had a hammer. And, I've sung like 100 songs over the last year and a half, and I can't believe this isn't one of them. So it's a great song. It's a sing-along song, so you're singing along at home. If I Had a Hammer. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, well, I've got a hammer, and I have a bell, and I have a song to sing all over this land. It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about a love between my siblings and my cousins, all over this land. It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about a love between my siblings and my cousins, all over this land.
And now, please join me in the dedication of the offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
It is such a joy to be back with you, back with Don and Tracey. I want to thank the supporters of Abundant Love for being here this morning. It's always good to come back to my congregation, the UU Congregation of Atlanta, where I'm a member, and where I get to work with this wonderful team of experts that have brought you our faith and our worship into your homes until we can be back together again. As I worked on this sermon, and I'm glad that this morning Don was singing about giants, because one of the giants I'm going to try to knock off his beanstalk is our fear of telling folks about what we believe, our fear of sharing with people who are close to us and dear to us about our faith. And I was moved by the work, and I have spoken about it before, of a powerful, nationally recognized UU minister, leader, African-American woman, activist, mom, and that's Marjorie Bowes Wheatley. I have preached about her story before, and this time it felt important for me to look into her multifaceted leadership and her faith life. She served on the Veach Foundation through our wealthy congregation at Shelter Rock, and she also served on the UU Service Commission. and she received the 2012 Annual Award for Distinguished Service to the cause of Unitarian Universalism for her many other accomplishments. I beg of you to look her up, Marjorie Bowens Wheatley. The recognition she received in 2012 says, "Our liberal religious movement has lost one of its most brilliant and most passionate advocates for justice, a fierce and tender and loving mentor to ministers and religious professionals, a gifted minister and religious educator, and a woman filled with God's Spirit and grace." Oh, if they'll talk about me like that, Don, when I am gone. If they will. She is also the editor, along with Nancy Palmer Jones, of Soul Work, which helped prepare us for a lot of the work that we're doing now. Soul Work, Anti-Racist Theologies in Dialogue, published in 2003. Published in 2003. So we've been at this a while. Our time with Unitarian Universalism, mine and Reverend Bowens Wheatley, did overlap, but not enough for me to directly have gotten to know her. Many of her minister mentees and people who worked with her, I am sure that some of you are having a moment of sadness because you knew her personally. I'm sorry I didn't. I need to tell you another story about her, though, that highlights my topic about us being able to do more than one thing at a time, because she was married to Clyde Grubbs, Reverend Clyde Grubbs, in our movement. And Marjorie's daughter was in conversation with her peers about churches and youth programs in those churches. And so her daughter asked Marjorie if they could go to church, and Marjorie said, "What church?" And Kayimba said a bunch of her friends were talking about churches. And she named these churches that her friends talked about. And Marjorie said no, because she had come out of those churches. And Clyde said that he knew of a church that was a social justice center for many of the activities that Marjorie had been involved. So All Souls Church in D.C. was the one he suggested, and she went there with her daughter and looked around and found that many of her friends from the movements, fellow activists, were there. And she even knew the minister from the social justice work that she had done, but none of them had invited her to All Souls. While we're talking about doing more than one thing at a time, if we have some adolescents who are in their 40s, I want to clarify something this morning, because there is an implicit we in that topic this morning. It is not about I doing more than one thing at a time. You alone actually can't do more than one thing at a time. You think you can and you want to. Now, I'll give a disclaimer to moms who have toddlers, because I've seen miracles performed. But for most of us, we can't do more than one thing at a time. And you really can't drive the car, send a text, and have an argument with somebody you're dearly in love with all at the same time. Those three things may be occurring, but the science has proven through many studies that your attention is one-dimensional, and you may want to be otherwise, but you're stealing focus from one of those other two activities if, in fact, you are doing that. And if you're driving, you're endangering the lives of the people in the car and the folks around you. And I did witness a woman in front of me shaking her head in disagreement about something, driving the car and holding a phone. And I let her have a little extra room. So that's not what this is about. But what it is about, because I am mostly a communitarian, is that we together can do more than one thing at a time, and we have to. And so we Unitarian Universalists are committed to our goals as anti-racists, and none of us are really believing that racism or oppression to anybody is the right way to behave. Most of us are not worried about our inability to interact with people one-on-one, and we're starting to become clear that discrimination and bigotry that is systemic must be addressed, and that we have whole systemic cultural realities that have discriminated against people who look like me or African Americans, and those institutions and those cultural norms support or in some ways typically benefit a white person until they find out some other way you can discriminate against them. But why am I talking about multitasking? Because we're in this moment when we have to do this because racial justice is there for us to work on in community. And we Unitarian Universalists have to grow our movement as we do the work, because we want to be sustained in the near and the far future because of what we believe. See, through Marjorie Bowens Wheatley's child, she finds all souls, finds it. But why wasn't she invited there by the very people who she had been actively working with? And I want to thank Reverend Clyde Grubbs for verifying the story, because I had it slightly confused. But she made it to All Souls. And then because she's at All Souls, she sees the placard that says there's a job at the UU Service Committee. And then, I didn't list it before, but do you know that Marjorie Bowens Wheatley, Reverend Marjorie Bowens Wheatley, gave out millions of dollars through the Service Committee and the Veach Foundation? Millions of dollars. Now, what if Marjorie had not been so opposed to those other churches and stumbled there? How much would we have lost? Because we don't tell folks about our communities. We can do more than one thing at a time. She even knew the minister, so I'm including myself in what we're doing. Because all of my friends need to know about Abundant Love and the work I do at UUCA. All of them. And here's another horrible reality that I'm just going to put out on the table. Because at this point in my career, I have preached at some 30+ Unitarian Universalist congregations, and at our largest gatherings, that would be the Southeast UU Summer Institute, General Assembly, and the UU Ministers Association. I'm very proud of having done those, by the way. But as I looked out over the audience, there was a whole lot of hair out there sort of highlighted like mine. And if we want our movement to survive our goals and our destinies that we dream about, if we want to get there when we have this beloved community, then we're going to have to start telling somebody about what we're doing. Yes, we need a bona fide church growth movement. That's not what this sermon is about. This sermon is about you telling your friends who you do your work with about this wonderful community that you're a part of. During the shutdown, we all had our favorites that we bragged about, that we were going to save no matter what during the shutdown. And we told everybody about those favorites because we were not going to lose that French restaurant on Ponce de Leon. Huh? And I am begging us now to tell folks about how UUCA and Abundant Love saved you during the pandemic shutdown. See, I want us around in 75 years. I didn't say I would still be preaching, but I want us there. There are some industries, y'all, where they don't invest a lot of money in advertising because they know that their market value is built by us telling our friends. And so they don't waste the money in advertising now. This is not an endorsement that we don't advertise. I think that we need to be obnoxiously conspicuous. Did I make that clear? As you drive from the airport, I want you to pass by all those megachurch billboards and the billboards that tell you your nearest Unitarian Universalist congregation and its website. But that's not what this sermon is about. This sermon is about telling folks that Don Milton can change your day single-handedly and has. We have helped each other survive the last 3.5 years of trauma, and they were trauma. We have addressed the most feared and difficult issues facing our society: racism, fascism, and our fears for the one planet we call home. No matter how many billionaires take to the skies, this earth is our home. And no matter how high they go, they still got to come back down to this earth, which is in trouble. During this time of trauma, we have cared for each other, been there in the streets on behalf of George Floyd and everybody else who was killed unjustly. We have done both things. And we couldn't even be in the same room together sometimes. And many of us are operating the computer at home right now, and we didn't know what Zoom was. March more than 1.5 years ago. And we never thought we would have to use it to protect us from a virus or to help us tell friends where they could get vaccinated. And we at Abundant Love, we don't have a choice because we're trying to build from the ground up. And y'all, we have been holding the banner of being centered in the Black religious tradition and doing Unitarian Universalism and having fun, doing more than one thing at a time. And we have grown. If you are telling your friends discreetly or privately how important this faith is, thank you. Because this is about all of us doing our part. No more holy accidents like Marjorie Bowen's Wheatley. And I need to tell you that I came looking for you. That I had a ministry that needed the right place. And you welcomed me and my liberal ministry right here. And Abundant Love is a product of my needing to find you and finding you and being here. And I was at a place where I was loved. I'm wearing the pin of the First Existentialist congregation. They were fabulous, but I needed something even more fabulous. And so we're allowing thousands of Marjories to walk by our desk, see us on Zoom, going to jail with some of us, and we're not mentioning this rich part of our lives which has sustained us through an epidemic and the changes in our political climate and our weather climate. See, not by chance anymore do we anticipate building that new land, but by our desire to grow a movement that has saved my life, my ministry, and I know it has saved your lives when you needed it most. Because we are going to build a land where the captives go free. And when we needed someone to save us from the press, this was here. I need to introduce your neighbors, your friends, to liberal religion, not to save their souls. And it's not a big, scary, mean giant. But I need you to know how you are coping with these rough days and nights. And they want to know too. Because you have an amazing community of liberal, religious, and conscious people right here. And we can do this together, more than one thing at a time, because of our hundreds of hands and caring hearts. And it's what we must do, all at the same time. Blessed be.
Thank you so much, Reverend Teague. Always a pleasure making worship with you. As Reverend Teague just mentioned, we are doing We'll Build a Land for our final hymn this morning. Hope you will sing along. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where siblings and sages, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like a never-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where siblings and sages, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like a never-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where siblings and sages, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like a never-flowing
Our closing words are from Marjorie Bowens Wheatley. And it was what she told the woman who was devastated by being in that horrible incident and not knowing where her daughter was. And she said, keep the faith. And I'm adding to that, and spread the faith. Thank you so much for having me back.
I can change the world with my own two hands, make it a better place with my own two hands, make it a kinder place with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can make peace on earth with my own two hands. I can clean up the earth with my own two hands. I can reach out to you with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. Gonna make it a brighter place with my own two hands. Gonna make it a safer place with my own two hands. Gonna help the human race with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can hold you with my own two hands. I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you got to use your own two hands. Use your own two hands. Use your own two hands. With our own two hands. With our own two hands. With our own two hands. Have you ever seen the sky so beautiful, colorful, wide and wonderful? Have you ever felt the sunshine so brilliantly raining down over you and me? Have you ever wanted more? Wanted more? You've got to keep your mind wide open. All the possibilities exhausted, worrying, wondering, hopelessly hoping. Think of all the time ahead. Don't hesitate, contemplate. No, it's not too late. Have you ever wanted more? Don't you know there's so much more? You've got to keep your mind wide open. All the possibilities. You've got to live with your eyes open. Believe in what you see. Tomorrow's horizons, full of surprises. Don't let them take your dreams away. You've got to keep your mind wide open. All the possibilities. You've got to live with your eyes open. Believe in what you see. You've got to keep your mind wide open. All the possibilities. You've got to live with your eyes open. Believe in what you see. Your mind wide open. Believe in what you see. Your eyes open. Believe in what you see.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate, greed, and jealousy. We are working to be free.
We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need.
Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a
see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright